Let us begin with a pause, not a ceremonial pause, not a ritual, but the pause that places our attention within. Be still one moment. Close the door of the senses and of the intellect and simply acknowledge, I, in the midst of me, is God. Not far off, not to be attained later, but present. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. In secret, not in public display, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. That is our beginning. Without this inner quiet, all that follows is talk, and talk never fed a multitude. Inspiration does. Our subject is plain. The bread you already have. The words are not mine. They are the Master's. I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. I do not present this as a philosophy to admire, but as bread to eat. I am speaking to those with today's concerns, rent due on Friday, a desk stacked with deadlines, a body that seems weary, a heart that misses a face at the table. A hunger rises, and the world says, go out and get your bread. And I say to you, on the authority of inner experience in Scripture, that supply is realized, not obtained. The bread appears as you enter the secret place and know I am within. I am not here to spin words about God. I am here to witness the operation of God as your very being. I would prefer not to talk of bread, but to see bread multiply, not by human effort, but by recognition. Spiritual demonstration is a simple thing. Once the basic principle is understood, there is only one I, and that I is the life of you, the mind of you, the substance of you. I and my Father are one, not two, not a needy creature praying to a reluctant deity. One life, one consciousness, one substance, manifesting infinitely as individual being. When the Master says, I am the bread of life, he is not pointing to a body named Jesus. He is pointing to the eternal I that speaks in the midst of you and of me. This is why he also could say, all things that the Father hath are mine, if you will receive it. That same I in you declares, all that the Father hath is mine. You ask, perhaps, what has this to do with my bills? Everything. Your bill is a cry of appearance saying, lack is here. Your hurried pulse is a drumbeat that says, hurry, or you will be too late to live. Your loneliness whispers that bread must come as a face, a voice, an embrace, or else you will starve. To all of these, the answer is not in the marketplace first, it is in the closet. Do not misunderstand me. Rent will be paid, tables will be set, friends will be sent, but not because you have wrestled bread from a stingy universe. Rather, form will conform to realized identity. When you know bread as your very life, bread will appear as form suitable to your day, money, opportunity, strength, companionship, right action, not because you got them, but because grace revealed what already is. This is practice, not theory. Always begin by getting still. Set the problem aside as you would set your shoes at the door. They are not needed where you are going. Take 3 quiet breaths, if you must. Not as magic, but as a reminder that life is within. Then, without petition, without bargaining, recognize truth. Father within, I do not come to get bread. I acknowledge I am fed. I do not come to secure supply. I bear witness that supply is my very being. I am the bread of life. Sit with that, not for seconds, but until it stirs your awareness, until the fear loosens, until you can say with honesty, I have meat to eat that the world knows not of. I can hear the argument, but the deadline is at 5. Yes, and at 4:59, God is still the life of you. If there is any urgency in this work, it is only the urgency to drop the belief in separateness. Do not pray to God that God supply you. That form of prayer is useless. Pray, that is, commune in recognition. The more you seek to get, the more you affirm you do not have. The more you affirm you do not have, the more you worship a false god named lack. Turn from the outer picture to the inner presence. Be still and know that I am God. Not be still and hope there is a God who will hear a far-off cry. Be still and know I, the I in the midst of you, am God. That I is bread. Now, in speaking so, I am not condoning passivity. When the inner recognition is clear, action will be given naturally a call to make, a line to write, a hand to extend, a door to pass by. But notice the order. Communion first, action second. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. It is a law. The secret place is the kingdom. The righteousness is right knowing. God as the substance of all form, God as the life of your life. The added things are whatever the moment calls bread. Some of you have tried to reason your way to peace. You have calculated budgets a dozen times and found no loaf at the end of the pencil. That is because bread is not produced by arithmetic. It is revealed by awareness. Do your arithmetic if the day requires it, but do not mistake it for supply. Supply is spirit recognized. Then, if the arithmetic is to work, it will work. If a new avenue is needed, it will open where the old seemed shut. I say this to you very emphatically. The appearing of good follows the knowing of God as I. Therefore, let this be our anchor as we begin this work together. I am the bread of life. Say it not as a human boasting, but as a holy disclosure. Say it in your closet until the anxiety loosens its grip and you can feel, even slightly, the presence that feeds you by being you. Then, from that place, face your day. You will discover, sometimes imperceptibly, sometimes with tender suddenness, that where you had counted coins, there is enough. Where you had counted hours, where you had counted sorrows, there is comfort, not because something was added to you, but because you awakened to what could never be taken away. Need ends where I am is known. This is our foundation. We will build on it, return to it, and prove it not in word only, but in life. Now, let us be very honest and very gentle, for we are going to look straight at the thing that has seemed to run our days like a taskmaster with a whip. This anxious pressure you have felt about time, about money, about health, about companionship, do not call it yours, do not dignify it with your name. Scripture calls it the carnal mind, and Paul is clear. To be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Do not make a metaphysical puzzle of that. The carnal mind is not your mind or mine. It is the universal suggestion of separation, a hypnotic current that whispers, you are apart from God, you are a branch cut off. You must hurry to get what you lack. That whisper is impersonal. It is a claim without substance. The Master said, the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. Nothing, no law, no power, no authority. When that anxious pressure comes to you, let this be your first recognition. This is not me. This is not my thought. This is the world belief pressing for acceptance, and I refuse to be its person. Do not be shocked that it knocks at your door. It knocks at every door. Do not condemn yourself because you heard it. Neither do I condemn thee. The instant blame enters, the game is lost, because blame keeps the sense of a separate self in place, the very self the suggestion is addressing. Set aside the rod of condemnation. We are not here to make a better human struggler. We are here to awaken to the I that has no struggle. I and my Father are one, not two. The anxiety has no partner in that oneness. It is an orphan voice begging for a host. Now, here another word you must take into the marrow of your practice. Cease judging by appearances. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Lack, delay, and emptiness are appearances. They are surface claims on the glass of vision, not spiritual facts of being. If you judge by the bill or the clock or the empty chair, you will pray to a picture. You will begin to beg a God outside the picture to come and fix the picture. Do not do this. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do. For your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink. He was not being poetic. He was giving you law. Take no thought is the way you starve the carnal mind of your attention. Take no thought means do not commence the ritual of mental bargaining. Do not start the inner arithmetic of how God might do it. Take no thought and turn to identity. Replace the petitionary impulse with this, recognition. Not asking for bread, but awakening as bread. I am the bread of life. Say it not as if a frightened personality is trying to talk itself into courage, but as the disclosure of what is already so. There is only one I, the I that is God, infinitely expressed as you and as me. That I is your mind, your life, your substance. That I is the bread. When anxiety tries to fasten upon you, do not wrestle. Do not resist evil with willpower. Gently, inwardly, say, I in the midst of me is God. Only one I. I am the bread of life. All that the Father hath is mine. And let the pressure pass by without hospitality. You do not need to banish it. You need only decline to be its person. You may ask, but what of the unpaid note, the unanswered message, the ache in the body? Here again, do not judge by the appearance. The note is a claim. The inbox is a picture. The ache is a sensation. They are not the law of your being. The law of your being is oneness. When you abide even a moment in that, you change the center from which you evaluate the picture. And then, without your willing it, form begins to adjust to the measure of your realized identity. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Would you, hearing that, turn and beg for an allowance, or would you quietly consent to be the heir by being the son? That consent is your end of anxiety. You have been tempted to think, if only I had been wiser, more industrious, more spiritual, I would not feel afraid. Nonsense. That is the carnal mind donning a clerical collar. It will use even the language of goodness to keep you bound to personal self-judgment. Drop it. Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is, God. If goodness itself is impersonal, God appearing as good, then fear is impersonal, carnal mind appearing as fear. See it so, and you rob it of the only leash it has, your identification. There is a simple way to prove this. The next time a wave of dread rises, do not follow it into a story. Be still. Feel the breath move without your effort. In that stillness, make no request. Simply acknowledge, I and my Father are one. There is only one I here, and that I is bread. This fear is not mine. It is a suggestion without law. Father within, I do not accept it. Then say no more. Let silence do the heavy lifting. You will notice perhaps as a soft unwinding in the chest, perhaps as a clarity of thought, perhaps as nothing at all but a lessening that the authority of the fear has waned. It has no root in the soil of recognition. Perfect love casteth out fear. Love here means the love of identity, the non-judging beholding of God as your very life. Where that love is, fear has no oxygen. Understand, I am not teaching you how to manipulate pictures. I am teaching you how not to be manipulated by them. You cannot cure anxiety by arranging externals. You unmask it by withdrawing your consent to its premise, separation. Then, from that unmasked place, the day will show you its next right move, and you will take it without pressure. Sometimes it will be a phone call. Sometimes it will be a rest. Sometimes it will be a no. Sometimes it will be a yes. But always it will arise from sufficiency, not from need. Keep this refrain near. Only one I, only one life, only one source. I and my Father are one, not two. Each time you remember that, you step out of the stream of universal fear and stand on the rock of being, and on that rock the winds may blow, the rains may descend, and the images may shift, but the house stands. Anxiety loses its authority the very moment you refuse to give it your name. Then bread, which never left, becomes visible as the very form your hour calls good. Stay with me in this inner stillness, for we are to look now at the word that turns the lock. I. Not the I of a private person claiming divinity, not the I of a proud mortal bolstering itself with phrases. The I of Scripture is the name of God appearing as individual being. Hear the Master, before Abraham was, I am. That is not grammar. That is revelation. He does not say, I was. He does not say, I will be. He declares the eternal present of God, being without beginning, without end, without lack. And when the same voice says, I am the bread of life, he is not pointing to a Galilean personality as the bakery of the world. He is unveiling the presence that stands in the midst of you and of me as the sufficiency of all that concerns us. I say this to you very emphatically. There are not many eyes contending for a portion of God. Only one, I infinitely individualized, never divided. I and my Father are one, not two. There is not God and you trying to get together in an hour of need. There is God expressing as you, God being the life, the mind, the substance of your appearing. That I is bread. When you hear, I am the bread of life, consent to let that I be the self of you. Do not shift it to a figure of history as if the I belonged to him and not to you. He would not allow such idolatry. Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one. That is God. He impersonalized even goodness, that your attention might return to the source, the only I. All that the Father hath is mine. Receive that now, not as promise, but as fact, not tomorrow, now. If it is the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, it is not the Father's habit to postpone it. The kingdom is not a future estate to be inherited after you have improved your behavior. The kingdom of God is within you, within, meaning at the center of your being, not dependent on the outer picture of bank accounts, contracts, or bodies. The moment you shift the locus of seeking from the scene to the source, you discover that bread is being, not commodity, consciousness, not coin. Then, only then, coins and contracts take their right shape as added things, never as life. Do you remember another word of the Master at the well of Samaria? Hungry, tired, his friends return with food, and he answers a riddle. I have meat to eat that ye know not of. And again, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me. Meat before meal, nourishment before form, will as essence, not effort. This is the order of sufficiency. Supply is consciousness of God as I, before it is the visible loaf. When you abide in the I that is bread, the day's meat meets you in appropriate form, strength in your limbs, clarity in your business, companionship in your home, opportunity in your mailbox. But the cause is never the picture. The cause is the presence known. Let me make this plain with a picture. A woman, let us call her Miriam, sits at a kitchen table with 3 envelopes and a thin purse. Her mind runs its arithmetic and finds lack at the bottom of the column. Habit would send her to the marketplace of worry and bargaining prayer, but this time she shuts the door, truly shuts it, and rests her thought on a single truth. I, in the midst of me, is God. I am the bread of life. Father within, I do not come to get. I consent to be thy sufficiency expressed. There is no fever in it. There is recognition. A warmth passes, or perhaps no sign at all, only quiet. In that quiet, she sees one simple step, an old client to call with a word of honest service. She takes it without demand. The response is not dramatic. It is appropriate. A small task, fair pay, and along with it an introduction that opens further right work. Did principle put dollars in an envelope? No. Principle revealed itself as order and sufficiency, and form conformed. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. It is law. Now, do not mistake this for autosuggestion. We are not coding human lack with bright words. We are acknowledging the one I and resting in its nature. Scripture harmonizes here, Paul with Jesus, not as separate voices, but as one name. Christ in you, the hope of glory. The life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God. The Christ in you is the I am God individualized, the only life you have. To live by the faith of the Son is to lean your weight, not on savings and schemes, but on the nature of God as your identity. Then, without strain, you discover, in Him we live and move and have our being. In that being, need has no tenure. You ask, perhaps, how shall I reconcile this with the press of my obligations? You do not reconcile spirit to matter. You let spirit define matter. Bread is not something added to you from outside. Bread is the revelation of God as the substance of all you are and all you have. When you begin inside, when you abide as the I that is bread, obligations become opportunities for the visibility of grace. The fumes of hurry lift. The sense of a private struggler gives way to an instrument through whom supply flows, and then your hand, your pen, your voice, your feet become the ways by which the one bread feeds not only you, but those appointed to your circle. Fix this in your practice. Each time you hear the inner whine of I need, translate it at once. The I that needs is a mental picture of separation. The I that is bread. In that instant, refuse the counterfeit I and return to the name. Be still and know, I this, I that, now knows is God. Let that be your meat, here and now. Not as drama, not as ritual, but as simple, unhurried consent. Then wait a breath, a minute, an hour if required, until the hush bears witness. Out of that hush, action will be appointed, or inaction sanctified. Love will govern the shape, one eye, one bread, one life appearing as infinite form, each form faithful to the nature of its source. Receive it gently. Need ends where I am is known, not announced loudly, but whispered as reality. And because it is reality, it bears fruit openly as your day, in ways both ordinary and holy. Let us come now to the place where theory becomes practice, where the noise of the bazaar is exchanged for the hush of the sanctuary. Hear the master without adornment. But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, And thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. But when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think they shall be heard for their much speaking. For your Father knoweth what things ye have need of, before ye ask him. This is not counsel for pious hours. This is operational law. If you would see supply appear as the form your hour calls good, you must leave the marketplace of bargaining and step into the closet of recognition. I say this to you very emphatically. Never bargain with God. Never attempt to get things by prayer. Do not promise better conduct for a larger loaf. Do not parade your merits or recount your needs as if the infinite could be persuaded or informed. You cannot buy God's attention with many words or sell your fear for a price. Your Father knoweth. If the Father within knows, then prayer cannot be information. If the Father within is love, then prayer cannot be persuasion. Prayer is recognition God as the eye of your being, the bread of your life already present. Therefore, procedure matters, not ritual, but order. Always begin by getting still. That is the first move out of the marketplace. Shut the door, yes, literally if you can. If you cannot, then inwardly close the senses and the restless intellect. Set the ledger of needs on the floor of your thought and step past it. Take no thought, not the first inventory, not the second argument, not the third plan masquerading as prayer. Be still and know that I am God. Make that your altar. Say it inwardly, not loudly, not feverishly. Be still and know I, the I, in the midst of me as God. Only one I, only one life, only one substance, only one source. Rest there. Next, release mental argument. Do not try to reason yourself into faith. Reason is a fine servant for bills and trains and recipes. It is a poor priest. In the closet, let silence do the heavy lifting. Do not string affirmations like beads to purchase calm. A single true recognition held in quiet outweighs 1,000 repetitions without light. Say softly, as recognition and not as magic, I am the bread of life. Then let the words dissolve into the awareness behind them. Sit or stand or walk quietly within. The silence is not empty, it is inhabited by the presence. That silence is the altar on which inspiration descends, not by your timing, but by law. Now purify intent. This step is decisive. Seek not demonstration. Seek God as identity. If you enter the closet to get rent or relief or results, you are still in the marketplace with the door ajar. Close it. Enter to know God as the I of you. Enter to love God with all your heart, soul, mind, strength, and to consent that the life of God be the life you are. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. The addition is never first. The kingdom is first. Righteousness here is not moral show. It is right knowing, oneness known. Remain until some measure of hush comes. It may come as a warmth, or as a breath that suddenly breathes you, or as nothing but a gentle absence of strain. These signs are secondary and relatively unimportant. The essence is the lessening of the personal will to get. When you notice this softening, listen not with ears, but with readiness. Sometimes a word rises, clear as a bell. Call here, wait, be still, go. Sometimes nothing rises but peace. Both are sufficient. You do not command the wind. You set your sail. Then, and only then, let the day move. Out of inner recognition, one simple action may be appointed. Take it without bargaining, without pre-measuring its yield. The open reward of the Father is never a contest with the neighbor's goods. It is the natural visibility of what already is. Form will conform to realized identity, often in quiet ways that you might miss if you are counting headlines. Let me give you a picture. A man, David, sits in his car between appointments. The pressure mounts. A contract in doubt. Figures poking him like thorns. Habit would dial a flurry of numbers with a voice tight for outcomes. Instead, he turns off the engine and shuts his eyes. Father within, I do not come to get. I consent to be what thou art as me. I and my Father are one. I am the bread of life. He waits without making a case. After a minute, the next step appears, but not as manipulation. One honest call, not to plead, but to serve and to tell the truth. He makes it free of strain. The response is measured in good, an extension, a smaller start, a door intact. Is this miracle? No. It is the reward of secret recognition showing itself openly as order and sufficiency. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Law fulfilled. Guard yourself here against a subtle return to the bazaar. Do not time God. Do not check the clock in your inner closet. Do not translate this practice into a technique for results. Spiritual healing cannot operate through rote ritual. It comes purely through inspiration. If you do silence, that results may hurry. You are repeating with your lips while your heart is in the market. Drop it. Better 3 honest breaths of yielding than 30 minutes of inward haggling. The closet is not a booth for trades. It is a sanctuary for beholding. You may say, but if I do not ask, how will my need be known? Hear the Master again. Your Father knoweth. Since the Father is the very mind and life of you, he knows, as you know and more than you know, because his knowing is universal and whole. You are not informing an absent deity. You are consenting to be the transparency through which the self-knowing of God appears as the right shape of your affairs. That is why prayer, in its purity, is recognition of oneness, recognition of God as the I that is bread, recognition that ends need because it ends separation. Make it your quiet rule from this hour. Never ask God for things. Ask if you must use that word to know God. Begin with stillness. Proceed by relinquishment. Abide in recognition, and then let the Father's open reward take its form. Carry your closet with you on the bus, at the desk, in the kitchen, between words, in a conversation. Secret communion is not confined to a room. It is a stance of the heart, and as you abide in it, you will discover that prayer ceases to be request and becomes the simple, holy beholding of I in the midst of me as God. Out of that beholding, supply reveals itself quietly, appropriately, sufficiently as your day. Before we go further with this practice, let us face the one condition that the Master placed upon prayer, and let us face it tenderly but unflinchingly. And when ye stand praying, forgive if ye have aught against any. Mark 11-25. Again, therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, leave there thy gift before the altar, and go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother. Matthew 5:23-24. Do you see what he is saying? You cannot bring offering to the altar of the secret place while carrying in your heart the ledger of wrongs. The altar recognizes only love. It receives only innocence. Not that the Father withholds, but that bitterness makes a wall of noise, and inspiration is a voice that requires hush. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Without love, the channel remains obstructed. With love, the hidden things open of themselves. I speak to you from experience when I say many a time prayer has seemed to go nowhere, not because God was absent, not because the principle failed, but because I had not released a person from my private courtroom. I had a face under judgment, and my lips said our Father, while my heart said my grievance. That is double-mindedness. Judge not, that ye be not judged, not as a threat, but as a law of consciousness. As you measure, you will be measured. As you bind, you will feel bound. It is not that God binds, it is that we knot our own hose and then wonder why water does not flow. Unknot it, and the stream proves itself. How do we unknot it? Begin here. Impersonalize. Neither do I condemn thee, John 8:11. Hear that word as your own function. Do not make a saint of yourself by pretending there has been no hurt. Do not harden yourself by making a god of your hurt. Instead, recognize that all that has ever come to you as injury, malice, betrayal, ignorance, came through the belief in separation, the carnal mind, not personal mind. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Why did he say that? Because in the hypnosis of the carnal mind, men know not. They strike at shadows. They see through a glass darkly. If you join them there with condemnation, you add darkness to darkness. If you stand in the eye that is light, you become a transparency through which grace dissipates the fog. Therefore, make this your inner right before you pray. Shut the door, be still, and, one by one, let the faces rise, family, partners, rivals, leaders, neighbors, strangers, even the image of yourself that you have battered with blame. Do not rehearse the case. Do not argue either side. Simply behold each one in the light of the eye that is God. Say inwardly to each and as each, neither do I condemn thee. I release you from my verdicts and labels. I call you what God called you, my beloved son. Let the words not be sentimental. Let them be legal words uttered in the court of your own consciousness, where law is fulfilled by love. Then widen the circle to the weary world, to peoples and factions you have judged wholesale. And with the same authority speak, in my heart at this instant I set this world free, and I am free. Do not hurry this step. This is not a perfunctory apology to the universe. This is instrument cleaning. You cannot expect the current of spirit to flow through wires corroded with resentment. Love is the fulfilling of the law. Love here is not liking. It is not approving of behavior or signing off on injustice. Love is the recognition of true identity in spite of appearance. Love is your refusal to let the carnal mind define a child of God. Love is your agreement with what is eternally so. When you do this, you feel the hose unkink, the heaviness lift, the silence deepen. Sometimes you will notice a warmth in the hands or the chest. Sometimes you will simply notice less argument in the mind. These are small signs. The important sign is that uninspired urgency gives way to expectancy without demand. Now, let us be exact. Make a sweeping but specific cleansing in the hush of the closet. State quietly, factually, the conditions of a clear instrument. No envy, no jealousy, no greed, no lust, no condemnation, no criticism, no self-righteousness, no desire to get, to outshine, to triumph over, and then turn the coin. Yes to benevolence, yes to gratitude for the good appearing as others, yes to rejoicing in another's gain as evidence of the same grace that is the life of me. Yes to purity of motive to serve, to bless, to behold. Do not chant these, do not dramatize, state them as you would state a legal clause in a contract with sobriety and certainty. For, indeed, they are clauses of the covenant between your awareness and the law of spirit. You may say, but this one harmed me. I answer, neither do I condemn thee. You may say, but this one threatens my livelihood. I answer, love is the fulfilling of the law. not to make you a doormat, but to make you a doorway. When love stands as the doorkeeper of consciousness, the thief has no passage. You will discover, often to your surprise, that the very ones you have released cease to trouble you, or they depart, or they reform, or in the most common case your vision changes, and with it the entire transaction of your life. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Singleness of eye means love in place of judgment. Let me give you a picture of this law in action, not as fairy tale, but as demonstration. A man came tight with bitterness toward a partner who had, by every outer measure, exploited him. He had prayed for relief, for justice, for supply, and nothing moved. We did nothing clever. We did not devise strategy. We entered the closet and did the one thing needful. Face by face, he forgave. Word by word, he withdrew his verdict. Neither do I condemn thee. In my heart, at this instant, I set this world free, and I am free. He stayed until tears washed the grit of blame. Then we said no more. Within days, not months, letters arrived, accounts settled, opportunities opened that had been blocked for a year. Did his partner become a saint? I do not know, and it is none of our concern. The hose was unknotted. The water flowed. Supply did not come from a man. It appeared as form because love fulfilled law. Make this your unwavering rule. Never proceed to recognition until forgiveness has cleared the way. If, in your quiet, you discover a pocket of resentment still held, stop. Do not try to push truth through obstruction. Go back. Release. Forgive. Reconcile in the heart first. Indeed, if the Father within appoints it, then return, and you will find the floor of your consciousness unsticky, your words fewer and weightier, your peace active. Then thy Father which seeth in secret will have an instrument fit for open reward. Let us do the short clearing practice now as a pattern for your own. Be still. Bring the world into your heart, not as headlines, but as living members of one I. Say, without strain, Father within, I agree with thy love as law. Neither do I condemn. In my heart at this instant, I set this world free, and I am free. Wait one breath. Then add, I release every individual from criticism, judgment, condemnation. I do not take offense. I do not give offense. I am transparency for thy grace. Now fall silent and let the words lapse into awareness. In that silence, the channel is clear. And when the channel is clear, bread, already present, already I will appear as form, quietly, appropriately, sufficiently as your day. Now we come to the simple doing that is not doing the way of abiding. Remember, this is not a technique to get anything. This is the holy consent to be what is already true. Hear the word that anchors us, I am the bread of life, John 6:35. Let this not be a phrase addressed to a figure in history. Let it be the name speaking as the center of your being now. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Be still and know I in the midst of me is God. This is the posture, not a body bent with effort, not a mind bargaining for results, but a heart consenting to presence. Sit quietly where you are. Let the spine be easy, not stiff. Let the hands rest in your lap or on your thighs. Open, relaxed, palms neither clutching nor pleading. Close the eyes if you can. If you cannot, lower the gaze. Say to yourself gently, I enter the closet. Then do nothing. No striving, no goal. Silence first. If thoughts arise, and they will let them pass like sparrows across a wide sky. You are not here to herd sparrows. You are here to behold the sky. Now bring in the breath, not as magic, but as a gentle carrier of recognition. On the in-breath, silently acknowledge, I am. On the small pause that follows, know in the midst of me. On the out-breath, rest into the bread of life. Let it flow without forcing. Inhale, I am. Pause in the midst of me. Exhale, the bread of life. Do not push the breath. Do not elongate to make an effect. Natural, unhurried, attentive. The words are not to impress God. They are to align your awareness with what is so. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. John 14:10. You are consenting to that indwelling as the very substance and activity of your life. After 2 or 3 of these gentle cycles, let the words soften. If you feel to continue the phrasing for a time, do so. If the words wish to fall away into simple awareness of I, allow that. You are not achieving, you are abiding. When stray thoughts knock, treat them kindly and let them pass. Return to the felt fact, subtle, quiet, that there is only one I, and that I is your life. In him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. Rest there. Into this resting, you may let 2 companion recognitions arise, not as petitions, but as identity statements. At a natural moment in the breath, perhaps on an in-breath, acknowledge, I have meat the world knows not of, John 4:32. Feel what that means. Nourishment before form. Sufficiency before coin. Then, when it suits, perhaps on an out-breath, let this fact stand quietly. All that the Father hath is mine, Luke 15:31. Not will be mine, is mine. Not as possession hoarded by a person, but as the shared life of the one, expressing itself as you and as all. Speak these within yourself once, twice, and then return to silence. We are not stringing beads. We are beholding what is. You may notice warmth in the hands or across the chest. You may feel a deep breath come of its own accord, as if something within has set down a heavy bag. You may feel nothing at all but a quiet that is not sleepy, an ease that is not indifference. These are secondary and relatively unimportant. Do not turn to chase them. If a sign appears, nod to it and return to knowing, I am in the midst of me, the bread of life. The wind bloweth where it listeth. John 3-8. You do not summon the wind. You set your sail by stillness and recognition. How long? Begin with 3 to 5 minutes. That is enough to step out of the marketplace and into the secret place with sincerity. 3 to 5 minutes, several times daily, morning as you wake, midday as you pause between tasks, evening before sleep. Keep the periods modest and faithful. Better 3 honest minutes in truth than 30 minutes of mental clatter in religious costume. Between these sittings, practice brief renewals, 20 to 30 seconds, many times a day. At the sink as water runs over your hands. At the red light. In the hallway before you open a door. On a stairwell landing, let a single breath carry the whole practice. Inhale, I am. Pause in the midst of me. Exhale the bread of life. Say nothing more. Ask nothing. Do not measure. This is the fulfillment of pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Not by speech without end, but by recognition at intervals so frequent that they stitch the day with presence. Guard yourself here from turning this into ritual for results. Do not time God by checking the oven of consciousness to see if a loaf has risen. Do not end a sitting and immediately search the mail for proof. That is the marketplace knocking at the closet door. Shut it. Your rule is simple. Abide. Abide and consent. Consent and rest. Rest and behold. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. The adding is the Father's open reward. The seeking is your secret recognition. If, during your sitting, a thought arises to do a specific thing, call, write, stop, go, note it, and set it gently aside until your time is complete. Finish in quiet. Then as you re-enter activity, do the appointed action without demand, without the itch to make it pay. The action that flows from abiding is simple, honest, measured. It serves because it is born of identity, not of fear. And if no action arises, leave the silence as you would leave a friend's home, with gratitude and without hurry. My peace I give unto you, John 14:27. Carry it into the next footstep. This practice is the bread's remembrance and the bread's being. It is not to get bread. It is to be and to know bread as your very life. When you sit with spine easy and hands at rest, when you breathe the name through the temple of your body, when you let thoughts pass and choose the quiet center, you are not preparing for sufficiency. You are standing in it. You are consenting to the fact that the life that is God is your individual life now. From that consent, forms will take their lawful shape without spectacle, without strain. 3 minutes at dawn, 3 minutes at noon, 3 minutes at dusk. A score of 30-second namings scattered like seed. That is enough. The Father which seeth in secret remains the operator. The open reward is his affair. Let us seal it simply. Take one breath now, without force. Inhale, I am. Pause in the midst of me. Exhale the bread of life. Leave it there. Neither ask nor plan. In that yielded moment, the kingdom is within you. In that yielded moment, need ends, because separation ends. Abide, and let grace be the actor, the substance, the sufficiency appearing as your day. Now let us watch truth, walk in shoes and speak in the simple tones of an ordinary day. Demonstration is not spectacle. It is form conforming to realized identity. Grace appears naturally as sufficiency. When the inner is set to I, the outer arranges itself without strain. Take no thought, for your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. The adding is not your function. The seeking as recognition is. Consider the press of finance. A bill lies on the table and seems to glare. Dates loom. Fear begins to itemize. Do not argue numbers with fear. Enter the closet. Shut the door of sense. Lay the paper on the altar of silence, not to bargain with it, but to behold through it. Be still and know, I in the midst of me is God. I am the bread of life. All that the Father hath is mine. Wait until the personal urge to clutch relaxes. Then listen. Sometimes an idea will appear simple, exact. Call this person, review that account, cancel this expense, complete that small task you have delayed. Sometimes nothing comes but peace, and within hours or days a provision appears that you could not have plotted. An overpayment refunded, a client long silent returning, a debt restructured without your pleading. Is this magic? No. It is law. The symbol called money is not supply. God is supply. Bread is the nature of I. You did not pull provision by thought. You consented to be transparency for the sufficiency that already is. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. Let me tell you a quiet picture of this. A woman, Anne, found 3 invoices due the same week and her bank balance thin. The old habit rose to write a dozen frantic emails and to dress worry and efficiency. She remembered, paused, and entered the closet 2 minutes in a parked car. Father within, I do not come to get. I consent to be thy sufficiency as me. I am the bread of life. The pace of her breath slowed. In that ease, Two simple steps became evident. Complete a small project left half done, and make one honest call to a vendor about spreading a payment. She did both without a tremor. That afternoon, a delayed payment posted, and a new order arrived, more modest than her imagination, but exactly in time. No fireworks, no bargain. Form conformed to realized identity. Now take the workday's crush. Files stack, messages blink. You feel pulled by 10 hands and owned by none. This is the hour to breathe the word. Do not make a plan under pressure. Make a place. Inhale I am. Pause in the midst of me. Exhale the bread of life. Then remember the Master. I have meat to eat that ye know not of. Meat unknown to worldly methods is not a trick. It is the inner clarity that becomes order, discrimination, and right prioritization. After 2 or 3 quiet breaths, look again. You will see that 3 tasks belong to tomorrow and 1 belongs to never. The one thing needful stands up and waves. As you do that one, the next one right appears. The day becomes a sequence of obedience instead of a storm of effort. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Not because the load vanished, but because the I within you shouldered it as you clear, calm, exact. I have watched this after long days of work. A practitioner sits with 10 names and heavy hearts in the inbox. The human urge is to rush through with phrases, but inspiration cannot be rushed. He enters the closet, releases judgment and fear, and abides until the inner stillness says, now. Then, instead of 10 hurried responses, he makes 3 simple contacts, each right, and the others either resolve themselves or show a truer need than the one presented. Spiritual operation is never by rote. It is the rhythm of grace moving through a cleared instrument. Now to the ache called loneliness. Many sit at a table for one and call it lack. Hear me. Absence in appearance is not absence in being. Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Do not try to fill the void with noise or with bodies. Enter the closet and abide in I. Breathe the word until presence becomes palpable, not as emotion necessarily, but as a still warmth, a companionship within that undergirds the next step. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Out of that inner companionship, love begins to flow outward, not as a hunt, but as a quiet availability. You make a small, honest gesture. You answer a message you once ignored. You attend a gathering not to get, but to bless. You smile at the neighbor as one eye recognizing itself. And then companionship appears sometimes as a person, sometimes as a deepening of the relationships already in your life, sometimes simply as the end of the ache without a new face. The form varies. The sufficiency does not. Bread is presence, and presence is bread. Guard yourself here. When good appears, do not claim authorship. Why callest thou me good? None is good, save one, that is God. If a bill is met, if a day reorders, if a friend arrives, do not carve your initials in the loaf. Give thanks within. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. Impersonalize even the good. It is God that is good. You and I are transparency for that goodness. The moment we take credit, pride takes the pen and begins to write its own gospel, and the flow narrows. Stay an instrument. Do not be the doer. The Father within doeth the works. And when appearances contradict truth, when a supervisor is harsh, when a neighbor seems unjust, when the ledger scowls practice righteous judgment, judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Look through, not at. Behold the eye where the mask of personality plays. Do not condone wrong action. Do not agree with false identity. Stand in the knowing, only one I. The life which is God is their life. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Singleness of eye does not mean naivete. It means you refuse to let the carnal mind write the name on any forehead, not even your own. From that seeing, you will be shown the right outer step. Speak, refrain, correct, bless, but without malice and without fear. Form will follow realization. A conversation softens. A policy shifts. Or, as often, the sting leaves you, though the circumstance takes time to unwind. Always, sufficiency is first interior, then visible. Do you see the pattern? Always begin within. Enter the closet. Forgive if anything clings. Be still and know I. Acknowledge, I am the bread of life. Wait until the compulsion to get gives way to the readiness to behold. Then, if appointed, take the simple step that emerges without strain, without demand, without the itch to prove. Let the open reward be the Father's affair. In finances, the form may be currency; in labor, order; in companionship, presence; in conflict, a softened field. But beneath them all is one demonstration, the end of need because the end of separation. All that the Father hath is mine. This is not poetry, it is law. And law, when loved and lived, makes itself seen. Now that you have begun to notice form, conforming to realized identity, place guardrails at the borders of your consciousness, for there are 3 old thieves that love to lurk near a newly opened channel: pride, ritual, and results fixation. They do not come wearing horns. They come wearing compliments, checklists, and clocks. They praise you for your good work. They whisper that if you repeat the breath word in a certain sequence for a certain count, you can make demonstration on demand. They urge you to time the invisible and to measure its goodness by the calendar and the ledger. I tell you quietly, but with emphasis, if you accept their counsel, the hose will begin to kink again. First, pride. Deflect every ray of personal credit as you would deflect a hot coal landing on your sleeve. Why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is God. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. I speak to you from years of watching this flow. The very hour I permitted a sense of authorship, a sense of being a healer, the stream narrowed. If a bill is met, or a friendship mended, or health restored, bow within and say with the Master, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always. He that glorieth, let him glory in the Lord. We are instruments. We do not manufacture grace. We yield to it. Keep this sentence near. It is God that is good. I let the flow take place. Second, ritual. Do not turn the breath and word into a charm, but when ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as the heathen do. Spiritual operation cannot be run by formulas. Inspiration, not rote, is the law here. If you take the holy phrase, I am the bread of life, and make of it a talisman, you will discover it begins to taste like sawdust. The word has authority only as it is recognized as your very identity in the instant of inspiration. Do not count breaths to manipulate God. Do not tense the jaw to squeeze a sign from heaven. Sit, be still, recognize, and let the wind blow where it listeth. If on a day the words wish to fall silent at once, let them. If on another day they wish to sound quietly for a minute, let them. The operator is the Father within, not your schedule. Third, results fixation. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Double-mindedness here is to say, I abide, and then secretly keep score. It is to leave the closet and put a stopwatch on the invisible. It is to treat the principle as a vending machine. 3 prayers paid, a result due. Let that go. Take no thought. The kingdom never answers to demand. It answers to recognition. The earth bringeth forth of herself, first the blade, then the ear, after that the full corn in the ear. Do you see? Of herself. Your part is singleness of eye, not inspection of the field every hour. Release timelines and metrics. Set your watch by peace. If peace has increased, the work is done, though the form take a day or a week to appear. It will appear in its own order as your recognition ripens. Now anchor the safeguard underneath them all. Oneness. Only one I. Only one ego, infinitely manifested as you and as me. There is not God in you. There is God expressed individually as you. I and my Father are one. To the degree that you live in that singleness, you will not be tempted either to claim good or to coax it. The bread you are is not separate from your living. The sufficiency you behold is not traveling toward you from afar. It is your very being unfolding as appropriate form. Rest in this. All that the Father hath is mine, not because I earned it, because there is only one. With this, keep the practice private. Secrecy is not secrecy from God, it is secrecy from the marketplace. Take heed that ye do not your alms before men, to be seen of them, when thou doest alms. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Enter into thy closet, and when thou hast shut thy door, pray to thy Father which is in secret. Silence protects inspiration. If you talk much about your periods of abiding, you will soon begin to perform them. If you broadcast the fruit before it ripens, the wind will bruise it. Guard the flame in your own heart. Tell no one of your number of minutes, your sensations, your small evidences. Let your words be few and your quiet much. Even in success, keep your face turned inward. The open reward is the Father's affair. Keep it that way. Let these simple corrections be practical laws to you. When praise comes, turn it Godward at once within, not theatrically. When the mind tries to set quotas, so many sittings, so many results, smile and return to be still and know that I am God. When the old superstition says, if you omit your noon breath, you will lose your supply. Answer. Spiritual life is not a superstition. It is the life that is God being, itself as me. The Father within doeth the works. When you feel the itch to report, to explain, to justify your way, remember, let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth, and let the next breath seal your lips. These are not denials of joy, they are protections of it. Understand what is at stake. Pride places a person between you and God. Ritual places a technique between you and God. Results fixation places time between you and God. All three reintroduce separation. All three say subtly, I am something apart, managing God. Refuse that seduction. Be an instrument, non-ritual, non-proud, non-demanding, so that inspiration remains the operator. Then the practice stays alive. Then my yoke is easy, and my burden is light. Ceases to be a verse and becomes the felt tempo of your day. So we continue as we began, quietly. Abide in I. Keep your closet shut and your heart open. Let love clear the channel. Let recognition be your only method. Let the Father within be the doer. And if you find, as you surely will, that this simplicity is occasionally challenged by the old reflexes, neither condemn yourself nor dramatize the lapse. Gently return, neither do I condemn thee. Rise and go on in singleness. Need ends where I am is known. Guard the knowing, and the bread will appear of itself as all that concerns you. Now let outflow be of the same essence as inflow, secret, unforced, impersonal. Freely ye have received, freely give. But how? not by adding more speech to the marketplace, not by pushing your light into another's eyes. Enter into thy closet. Even when your eyes are open upon a crowded street, carry the silence within the noise, and meet every face with the same recognition that healed you of need. I and my Father are one. Only one I, one bread, infinitely manifest. When you encounter the look of lack in another, the anxious brow, the rehearsed complaint, do not attempt to fix a person. Do not rearrange appearances with will. Be still and know the Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. Zephaniah 3:17. Let that sentence become the atmosphere within you as you behold them. Say nothing outwardly unless you are instructed. Within, acknowledge, I, in the midst of thee, is God. Here, now, as the very self they are. Then, in that same inner voice, which is not a voice, let the ancient benediction arise, thou art whole. Do not say, you will be. Not, you could be if you tried. Thou art. This is not flattery, it is righteous judgment. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. You may ask, but what of their faults, their habits, their errors that glare? Remember what we have learned. Sin and lack are impersonal. They belong to that universal carnal suggestion which is not your mind or mine. Refuse condemnation. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. This is not permission to perpetuate wrong. It is the law of release by which wrong loses a host. In your heart at that instant, release them from criticism, judgment, and blame. Love worketh no ill to his neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfilling of the law. Let love fulfill the law here by clearing you of the mote and the beam so that the current may move. If there is a correction to be spoken, it will be given to you in gentleness. If there is nothing to say, silence is itself a full cup carried into the room. There is a way to bless a house, an office, a shop, a ward, without a word. And into whatsoever house ye enter, first say, peace be to this house. Luke 10:5. Say it where God hears in secret. As you cross a threshold, pause one breath. Inhale, I am, pause in the midst of me. Exhale, peace to this house. Do not look to see if anyone feels it. If the atmosphere is receptive, peace will rest upon it. If not, it shall turn to you again. Matthew 10:13. That is non-interference. You do not strive to break into another's consciousness. You offer the bread by being bread. Your peace knows its way. If there is a human act to perform a chair, to offer a glass of water, a listening ear, it will flow from the same quiet and carry the same oil. Sometimes, as you hold another in this impersonal benevolence, a simple word may be placed upon your lips, not a lecture, not instruction, a word. Fear not, you are loved. Let us sit a moment. Or at times, no, not today. Then let it end. Leave no residue of your personality upon the encounter. Remember the apostle, my speech and my preaching was not with enticing words of man's wisdom, but in demonstration of the Spirit and of power. Demonstration here will often be invisible to you. A quarrel will soften 2 rooms away. A ledger will balance by a correction you do not trace. A body will ease in the night without your knowing your peace stood in the doorway. Do not gather reports. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The open reward may appear where you are not. I speak from long watching of this grace. When we stop meddling and start recognizing, life organizes itself around the one. A man in a train car, bound tight with worry for a son, sat opposite a student of this way. No counsel passed between them. The student entered the closet with eyes open and held one knowing. Father, thou art the life of this man and of his son, one life, one I, one law, one love. Thou art whole. At the next station, the man rose with a lighter face, made one phone call, and smiled a quiet smile of relief. No one claimed a miracle. God had been God where 2 or 3 were gathered in one name. Guard yourself here from the zeal that wants to make converts. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him. Your task is not to recruit, but to radiate. Let your light so shine before men, not project, not persuade shine, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. If someone asks, answer simply, without claim. If no one asks, move on in peace. Do not put your hand upon another's soul. The kingdom is never helped by pressure. The sheep hear the shepherd's voice in their time and language. Trust that. And if in your blessing there arises a temptation to think, I helped, I changed something, turn at once. Why callest thou me good? None is good, save one, that is, God. Thank the Father within, and be done. Do not place your initials on the loaf. We are instruments, transparent, or we are nothing. Keep the practice so free of you that love can pass unhindered. Then you will not tire. You will not carry people around by the handle of your sympathy. You will behold them and be free, and freedom will be contagious. Make a simple rule of outflow as you walk the day. Always begin within. Clear the lens. Forgive. Release. Let. Neither do I condemn thee be the climate. Recognize I in the midst of thee is God, here, there, everywhere. Whisper inwardly, thou art whole, then stop. If an outer kindness is given you to do, do it. If none is given, keep still and let peace be your presence. Then pass on. You will leave behind you an unseen trail of quiet fields, and you will carry within you no burden, only the echo of my peace I give unto you. This is sharing bread. Not talk, not display, recognition. To share bread is to recognize the same I am in all, secretly, lovingly, without interference. As you live so, peace without fanfare, healings without headlines, provision without boasting will attend your way and the ways you silently bless, and you will find that your own sufficiency deepens, for the law is ever true. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over. But even here, do not look to receive, look only to be. The bread is I. The life that is God is the life of every one you meet. Be still, be whole, and let grace do the rest. Now we make a rule of life, not a rule of bondage, not a superstition, but a cadence in which grace may find you available. Sufficiency is not an event, it is a habitation. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Dwell, not visit. Make of your day a simple sanctuary in 3 bells, morning, midday, evening. Upon waking, before the world puts its opinions upon your shoulders, enter the closet. Do not bring your shopping list. Do not bring yesterday's ledger. Come empty. Be still and know that I am God. Be still until you can say with truth, I and my Father are one. Only then put your feet upon the floor and let the feet move where that knowing leads. At midday, when the motion of hours has gathered you into momentum, stop for a moment, even if only one breath in a corridor, a stairwell, a parked car. Shut the door of sense. Return to the word. I am the bread of life. Not to get bread, but to be what you are. Let the peace settle, and then take the next right step, not the next many. In the evening, before sleep, come home again. Lay down all names and faces on the altar and forgive. If you have aught against any, release it there. If a thorn of self-judgment pricks, let neither do I condemn thee be the last word upon the day. Then sleep in the consciousness. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. Between these three anchors weave small renewals. Before you answer a message, one breath, I, in the midst of me, is God. Before you pick up a difficult call, one breath, judge not according to the appearance. Before you spend one breath, all that the Father hath is mine. Before you walk into a room, one breath, peace be to this house. You are not adding labors to your life, you are subtracting separation. These brief recognitions are not rituals. They are remembrances by which the I returns to singleness and the day becomes transparent to grace. Keep a simple readiness check in your heart. Do not proceed until these are true. First, forgiveness. In my heart at this instant, I release every individual from criticism, judgment, condemnation. If there is one name that refuses to go free, stay with that name in the light of love is the fulfilling of the law until the hook loosens. Second, release of agenda. I surrender results, timetables, and proofs. Thy will be done. Third, silence. 1 minute or one breath of genuine quiet in which no request is being shaped. Fourth, recognition. Only one I, only one life. I and my Father are one. I am the bread of life. Then and not before, act, speak, write, buy, counsel, correct, comfort. If you omit these foundations, you may still accomplish, but you will not demonstrate, and the cost in weariness will tell you you worked alone. Hear this soberly. You cannot heal if you are double-minded. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Do not say, I trust, and then in the next inhale calculate by fear. Do not go to the closet and then to the marketplace with two gods, God and Mammon. No man can serve two masters. Keep the eye single. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. Singleness does not mean a clenched jaw. It means undivided allegiance. It means that you refuse to consult the carnal mind for second opinions. It means that once you have recognized I, you do not insult the I by rushing back to anxiety as authority. When you find you have done so, do not condemn yourself. Gently return. One look is all it takes. The prodigal need not finish the far country's tour. One turn home and the robe is upon his shoulders. Let love be the climate of this rule. Without love, the forms of practice become empty vessels. With love, even the briefest breath is a sanctuary. When ye stand praying, forgive. Make that the fixed law of your inner court. Each morning, name no man enemy. Each noon, let no grievance find lodging past one breath. Each night, empty the day of its residues. You are not purchasing favor. You are clearing the instrument. Then the river runs. Guard secrecy. Keep your periods hidden. Let not thy left hand know what thy right hand doeth. Say little of your practice and less of your evidences. If anyone presses, answer with modesty. The Father within doeth the works. Then change the subject. This protects you from performance and protects the flow from the drafts of the marketplace. Thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. The open reward takes 1,000 forms and often appears where you are not looking. But the best of them all is peace. As this rhythm settles, demonstration ceases to be an event to be reported and becomes a way of seeing to be lived. Forms will come and go. Situations will improve, resolve, or be reinterpreted. Your joy will not rise and fall with weather. You will discover that you are not leaning out into life for supply. Life is pouring out of you as sufficiency in right measure, right place, right time. Bread meets you because bread is you. I have meat to eat that ye know not of. In this meat you will work without strain, give without depletion, rest without guilt, and watch the Father's care express as all that concerns you. So I commission you not to effort, but to fidelity. Set your 3 bells. Keep your micro pauses. Use your readiness check as law. Refuse double-mindedness as you would refuse poison. Walk softly in secrecy, love as atmosphere. And in every climate, keep these declarations near, not as charms, but as truth recognized in the marrow of you. I and my Father are one. I am the bread of life. I have meat to eat that the world knows not of. All that the Father hath is mine. Say them now, without strain, with the stillness we have learned to love. Then rise and go your way. Let your day be the open page on which grace writes, and your life the quiet witness that need ends where I am is known. Seek not signs. Abide. Ask not outcomes. Recognize. And it shall come to pass that the things you once chased will be where you stand, and the peace you hope to borrow will be your own atmosphere. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Dwell there, this hour and the next, and let the bread be seen,